Shui Yun. Ru Yun is a prostitute in Hangzhou, and he has the most talent in the world. When she was 14, Miss Kai, a brothel mother, asked her to pick her up. Ms. Rui said, "This is the beginning of my life, and it can't be rushed. The price is yours, the guests are mine." Miss Kai said, "Okay, we'll settle for 10 silver coins." From this day on, Rui Yun will receive guests. Guests who ask to see him must have a greeting. Ru Yun plays chess with him and gives thanks for a painting, while Li Xiao leaves with just a cup of tea. Mr. Rui's name has long been known, and since then, the wealthy businessmen and children of your family who have come to see him have been seeing him every day. Yuheng County has a congratulatory student, a famous talented man, but not a very wealthy family. He has always admired Ru Yun, and although he is afraid to sleep with him, he has also tried to prepare a little gift, hoping to see Ru Yun's looks, but he is secretly worried that Ru Yun has a lot of friends, so he will not be taken seriously as a poor book student. When he talked at the meeting, Ru Yun was very gracious and sat together for a long time. Ru Yun gave a poem to He Sheng with a soft look. "What is a pulp seeker? Lan Qiao knocking at Shaoguan. I'm looking for pearls. I'm looking for pearls." He Sheng liked the poem so much that he had a lot to say. And suddenly the little girl came in and said, "There's a guest." Mr. He had to say goodbye in a hurry. After returning home, He repeatedly tasted poems and slept with Mr. Rui. After a day or two, I couldn't help but bring a present to see Rui Yen. Mr. Rui was delighted to see him, moving his seat to Mr. He and whispering to him, "Can you think of a night out with me?" He said, "Poor students, who only have one passion to give to their friends, have done their utmost. I'm happy to see your face, and I can't even think of a skin kiss." Mr. Rui listened sullen and sat opposite each other without speaking. After Mr. He sat for a long time and didn't come out. Ms. Kai called Ru Yun 3 times to urge him to leave. He was so depressed that he wanted to sell all his property for a night of fun. But it was a different dawn, and the situation was even more unbearable. When Mr. He thought of this, he was devastated and he broke the letter with Mr. Rui. Mr. Rui chose his first night son-in-law and picked several, none of them fitting. Miss Kai was angry and forced to change her mind, but she didn't say. One day, a show came with a gift, sat for a conversation, got up and pressed Mr. Rui's forehead with a finger and said, "What a pity. What a pity. I'm gone." Ru Yun's bringing back the guests. They saw ink-like fingerprint on her forehead. Rayan washed it. The more you wash it, the clearer it gets. Within a few days, the inks gradually widened. After more than a year, they spread to the left and right cheekbones, and the upper and lower noses. Those who saw her laughed, and no one has visited her since. Ms. Kai took Mr. Rui's makeup and asked her to work with her maids. Weekend unable to do heavy work, Mr. Rui is getting haggard by the day. When Mr. He heard about it, he came to see her, only to see Mr. Rui, who was working in the kitchen and was as ugly as a ghost. Mr. Rui looks up at Mr. He, faces the wall and covers his face. He expressed his sympathy for her, and told Kai that he would like to take Ru Yan as his wife. Miss Kai agreed. He sold his land, took out all his property and bought Ru Yan back. Inside the house, Rui Yun weeps in his clothes, saying he's afraid to be his wife, willing to be his concubine, waiting for he to marry his wife again. Life is about confidence. How can I forget you when you're lucky and you can treat me as a confidant? I finally married no one else. Those who heard it sneered at Mr. He, but his feelings for Mr. Rui grew stronger. More than a year later, Mr. He stumbled across Suzhou, where a bookmaker surnamed He lived with him in a guest store. Mr. He suddenly asked, "There's a geek named Ru Yan in Hangzhou. How are things?" Mr. He replied that he was married. He asked, "Who is he married to?" "He was like me." Mr. He said, "If I could be like you, I'd be married to the right person. I don't know what I'm worth, because she had a strange disease. She sold it off. Otherwise, how can a poor student like me buy such a beautiful woman from a brothel?" He Sheng asked, "Is he really like you?" Mr. He thought he was asking especially, and asked why. Wazen laughed and said, "I don't conceal it. I saw her once, but she was a wonderful person. And in that place, she used a little magic to hide her glow, to protect her innocence, to wait for those who truly love her to come to her. Mr. He hastily asked him, if you can lighten the ink marks, can you wash it off? How not? But ask for it in good faith, wasn't said with a laugh. Ru Yun's husband is me, said Mr. He, who rose to Mr. Shi. Only a true talent can understand the truth of the matter, and not change his mind because of the ugliness, wasn't said. I'll go back with you and give you back a beauty. So I went back and forth with Mr. Ho. At home, Mr. He prepares a banquet, and stops it, saying, let me do the magic first so that the people who prepare the food will be happy. Let Hasheng fill the water with pots, and draw on the water with his fingers, saying, wash immediately. But she must come out to thank the doctor herself. Mr. He smiled and carried himself in, waiting for Mr. Rui to wash his face. As soon as Ru Yun washed his face, the ink marks on his face fell off. It was as bright and beautiful as it was then. The couple are grateful to come out together to thank you, but the guests are gone. I've looked everywhere and I haven't found it. I think it's a cactus.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.